Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to about to kick off with another fantastic race with 8BitBeast and Azmi dueling it out in an any percent Banjo-Kazooie run. Do just want to quickly do a bit of a shtick. We're all speedruns, just presenting an event at PAX Online, doing a little 12-hour shtick. Mostly races themed with Australian runners facing up against their international counterparts. Should be a fantastic little event. We've already had one race and one run. We're coming up next is going to be Super Mario World after this Banjo-Kazooie run. Standing at Seathorn, as I said, right now is Banjo-Kazooie. We are also raising money for Cure Cancer. If you type in, I'll just quickly do that right now, exclamation mark donate, you can see this link there. It's not particularly formal, it's a generic little charity drive, but obviously every dollar helps. And that should be good. So look, I'll leave this to the runners. Count in whenever you're ready and they should be able to start the timer. Should be all good. Good luck to you both.
Alright. So we should be on now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Just people want me to turn the music down a little bit. Apparently it's a bit loud compared to the voice.
Just compared to his voice, I think we're good.
Yeah, you might be a little bit louder than Softy. Softy's a little bit soft.
Well, he's gone now, so like it's whatever.
Alright, cool.
So we should probably count down and then we can start introducing ourselves.
Cool.
Oh, I'm quiet
Wait, nobody said you're quiet.
in the Discord.
Apparently you're good.
Alright. You asked to turn up desktop. Alright, that's fine. We're good. Okay.
Alright.
So let's count down. I'll count down and then we can introduce ourselves. Alright.
Cool.
You can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! GL.
GL. Alright, so I'm 8-Bit and this is Azmi racing me. I'm gonna do Banjo-Kazooie 80%. Welcome to Australia, Azmi.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Farmland.
So a bit about this category. So it's beating the game as fast as possible without the use of sandcastle cheats. So normally you'd be seeing 100% runs of this game where we do lots of mini games and grab lots of jiggies and stuff. This is pretty much just going to be running around grabbing a bunch of notes and getting to the end as fast as possible. There's a whole bunch of glitches and it looks very, very different than what it did a couple of years ago. Or even like, I think, what was it, started this year big clips were found, Azmi?
Yeah, started this year.
Yeah, in the last
Even a
few
few
months.
months after.
Me failing bubble skip just to let Azmi get a bit ahead. Yep,
There you go, I got it.
nice.
That's good because 8-Bit's route is a tiny bit faster, if not the same. We're doing different routes. 8-Bit is gonna do a couple of what is known as a bit clip. He's gonna do 2, and I'm gonna do 3. They're basically really hard tricks, and we'll explain them more later. But I'm doing one more, so I can do a slightly different route, just to show off a couple of the cooler tricks in the run. But yeah.
Azmi, according to chat, you're still a bit low, so I might turn down game audio a tiny bit.
Can you turn off the desktop audio?
But yes, I can. There we go.
Yeah, that would probably be better.
Alright, desktop audio is up.
Alright, nice.
Apparently it's all Falcon's fault, says somebody. Yeah,
Of course.
that's right. Yeah, so a bit about the routes I'm going to be doing. There's sort of 2 different routes. I'm going to be doing the 6 jiggy route for this category, which is going to open Clanker's Cavern. Azmi is going to be doing a 1 jiggy route, which instead of opening Clanker's Cavern, he's going to do Bubble Gloop Swamp early as Banjo, and then get into Clanker's Cavern as the B instead of Banjo. So pretty much, I'm doing Clankers as Banjo, Bubble Gloop as the B. Azmi's going to be doing Bubble Gloop as Banjo with Clankers as the B. Now, you would think skipping 5 jiggies is pretty fast, but actually, the route that Azmi's doing is about 5 seconds slower, even though he's getting less stuff. But his route is a lot more interesting, but also a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
We thought that it would be fun to kind of show off both possible routes to this game, though. won't be seeing too many like crazy tricks until we get into Treasure Trove Cove, but the first real trick here is Tigger's Tower Skip. So these slopes have a 1 second timer, so as long as we're not over the slopes for more than 1 second, we can climb up without getting Tigger the Termite. That saves like 5 Mumbo tokens and a bunch of time. And probably a little note about the versions that we're playing on. For a long time, this category was PAL only, which meant that it could only be played on the Australian and European versions. But a couple of years ago, we found a method to do the glitch RVA on NTSC. So me and Azmi are both playing on the American versions at the moment. And the new glitches that we found earlier this year, the bit clips, are incredibly precise. So the setups we found for NTSC, and basically we'd have to find totally different setups for PAL. So if you want to run this game on PAL, you're going to have to find some new bit clip setups. But apart from that, NTSC and PAL are about the same speed. PAL's probably like 20 seconds slower.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Apparently I missed some notes.
Missed some
Shit.
notes. Whoa.
Alright.
This just got interesting.
Alright, that's interesting. Where did I miss notes? Hello? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm stupid. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Oh, and I did. God, no. I missed notes. I missed 6. But
then
it's
you
fine.
get-
I know better to do that.
What of notes?
I'll get 6 notes in RBB and do the window clips because they're cool.
Alright, cool. So our routes are going to look even more different.
Yeah. I don't know what I did.
So even though it's just
Yeah.
like 5 jiggies different, me and Azmi are going to be doing the levels in like almost completely different orders. So we're both coming into Treasure Trove Cove now, but then we'll be going into... he'll be doing Bubble Gloop, I'll be doing Clankers, and then it's all different from there.
I actually got to open this cauldron.
Oh,
It's a
before
a
TTC.
super...
Alright,
I
me and Az...
do-
Oh, go on.
I do... 8-Bit's gonna do after Click Clock Wood, he's gonna do Rusty Bucket Bay and Gobies, then Bubble Gloop Swamp. But after our Click Clock Wood for me, I'm gonna do Clanker's Cavern, Gobies Valley, then Rusty Bucket Bay. So it's like the opposite. Alright. That was TTC early. I don't know who got there first, but I just got it.
We're about the same time. I think I'm like 5 seconds ahead. Although Azmi's actually ahead because he opened the cauldron. Although then he's actually behind because he missed those 6 notes, so who knows anymore.
Yeah. Routes are already diverged.
But pretty much what's happening with TTC early is that cannon that we jump through. You jump through it because you get some lag, so we put the camera on a really specific angle to cause lag. And when this game lags, they try and make it so that you don't notice, so they actually speed up Banjo's movement speed, which means that you can just jump through walls, apparently. It's a lot less bad than the lag speed up in Donkey Kong 64, for example, because in this game it's capped at like 1.5 times your normal speed, but in DK64, if you make it lag more, you're going to speed up more.
I just realized what notes I missed.
What notes?
I missed... So I started doing the note order differently after the Stonehenge today, and I did like a mix of what I used to do and what I do now, so I ended up skipping 6 notes on the hill.
I remember seeing that and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to mess up the note order because I'm going to do something wrong in the marathon.
Oh.
But on that note, no pun intended, this run is actually fairly new because these big clips just came in a bit earlier. We're still basically rerouting everything because we've only started doing the 6G route, like a few months ago. So that cut out, I think we were getting 31 jiggies before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 31, yeah.
Yeah, so it cut out like 25 jiggies from the run, so all the levels look completely different.
Going in the loading zone.
Oh no.
It's fine. Gonna go back in.
So one minor difference with me and Azmi's TTC as well is I had to learn flying from models, but Azmi knew it. There's a glitch that we use in this run that we haven't actually talked about yet called FFN. And what we did before the stream started was we died in Furnace Fun on a file that had all the moves. And then when you start up the run, well, it transfers all the moves to your new file. So Azmi's file that he did FFM on had all the moves, and my file had all the moves except for red feathers and gold feathers. And the reason for that is when you learn red feathers from bottles, he gives you 25 feathers to fly around with. So it's actually worth learning them in the run, just because you get that top up. But Azmi, well, you need red feathers to learn gold feathers, so they're sort of a package deal. And Azmi isn't going into the level where you learn gold feathers, so he actually has to learn both in FFM, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to learn gold feathers at all in the run. And a little thing about routing this game, there's a note door called the 810 note door right at the end of the game. And, well, unsurprisingly, you need 810 notes. So we're going to have to go into every level, because each level has 100 notes. There's 9 levels, so we're going to have to go into every one. But we're going to spend the majority of the run as the bee, just going into a bunch of levels there, and just collecting as many notes as we can. And the other thing that we need a lot of in this run is Mumbo tokens, because we're going to have to transform into the pumpkin and the bee. And we're going to be skipping a bunch of levels to get up to the bee as quickly as possible. So that means we need almost all the Mumbo tokens we come across. So if we miss any, it's going to be a pretty big issue.
It's even more tight of a route for me, because Clankers has a lot of fast tokens, and Bubbleloop has some slow tokens. Alright. Now I'm about to diverge right now from off of 8-Bit's route. I'm heading towards Bubbleloop right now. I gotta switch my controller. I switched my controller for these clips coming up, because we need to be able to hold the up, down, left, and right precisely without any error. So I just switched to a controller that makes it easier for me to hold the directions. Alright, so I'm gonna do the setup now.
Alright, so Azmi's setup is pretty hectic, so I'll explain what big clips are while he's doing that. In this game, the floors are made up of floor triangles, and where two triangles meet, there are tiny, tiny little gaps in the floor. So Azmi's going to do some really specific movement to make sure he's in exactly the right position here, and he's going to line himself up over one of these really, really small floor gaps, and, well, essentially fall through it and get into Bubble Loop without opening it.
What am I doing? Okay, I just completely forgot the setup somehow. Alright.
He's a pretty serious time.
Okay.
So Azmi's doing some twirly whirlies now with the camera. These put you at a specific facing angle, like exactly perfect down to the fraction of a degree. Every time Azmi is pausing and unpausing, it's a frame perfect trick as well. But you get infinite goes at it, so if you miss it, you just try it again. Did you get it, Azmi? Nice. GG.
Okay, I'm so happy. I'm so happy, dude. That was the thing I was scared about the most in this run. Because that's definitely the hardest big clip, I think. Or the hardest trick. The clip itself is actually surprisingly easy compared to the other ones. But the stuff you do afterwards is really hard. So now the rest should be not too terrible. We'll see how it goes.
So with those big clips, they can only really be used to fall through floors. You can't really get behind walls with them. except in Tui, where they behave a bit differently in Tui. So if you've seen Tui any % recently, you'll have seen that they just skip the very last door in the game using a big clip. And they kind of jump through the ground and then flutter out of bounds and then ground pound back up inbounds. But yeah, they're a bit more limited in Kazooie, unless you're in a Taz setting, in which case you can flutter past doors and stuff. But we'll be seeing 3 useful bit clips in Azmi's run, and they're the only useful RTA bit clips we know of at the moment. And I guess a little bit about the discovery of them too. A guy called Falcon X Falcon did bit clips on Tui's accidentally, and it's all his fault that the runs are really difficult now because of bit clips.
Yeah, so blame Falcon.
For a
He's
couple
coming...
of, yeah,
Go on.
for a couple of years, like, we didn't know what was going on with them, and then like somebody showed me that Falcon had done them, and I had a look at it in a Taz setting and pretty much figured out what was going on. Then we started Tazzing with them because they're really easy to Taz. You just like get into the position, because in a Taz you can like watch your position and stuff. But then Ring Rush found a way to do them RTA in Tui, and after Ring Rush found Tui RTA, I found a way to do them in Kazooie RTA, which is really different to how you do them in Tui. And then the big clips that we're going to be doing in this run, Ring Rush took the setups that I found and he optimized them to make them a lot faster. So yeah, when we first found setups, they were actually slower than going to the puzzle and opening the level. They still save time on skipping jiggies, but now they're actually faster than opening the levels. Except Bubble Gloop early, which is about the same time as opening Bubble Gloop.
Yeah. So, going back to Falcon finding the clip for a bit, it's actually kind of funny because me, 8-Bit, and 2 other people, Hyper Resonance and Captain Cole, were actually in a call discussing the any % task route. And then in the middle of that call, me and Captain Cole showed 8-Bit the clip. So during that call, we sparked 8-Bit to like look into it more, which ultimately ruined our tasking journey.
Yeah, we've had to restart the Banjo 20% task so many times now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna do this cool thing right here where I go on top of the maze and go head to this cattail over here.
Ooh, I haven't seen that before, that's sick.
Yeah, it's really nice movement. That's one of the newer movements I've found when I was like practicing this week. Alright, let's BGS's Banjo.
Alright, you count down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, I'm going.
Okay. That's sketchy.
We haven't unpaused yet on my stream. Oh, there you go.
I failed that.
Oh no.
That was such a mess, dude. Alright, I'm probably mad now. Alright, whatever. It's fine. Fine, it's fine, it's fine. Alright, so we're back.
Yeah. So me and Azmi were having a good old yarn comparing our game times to the first 3 levels just then. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. I was on my view total screen, and I was like, wait, so when I press start, it should take me back to the main pause screen, right?
No.
Nope, it took me back to the game, so I accidentally like unpaused for a bit, and my timer was like almost running out. Alright, we do FPLE now.
Alright, so Azmi's doing a trick called FPLE. Unsurprisingly, it lets you get into FP early. Have you done it yet, Azmi?
I got the clip.
Nice.
Alright, and we're in. Nice.
Nice.
Alright, good.
Alright, I'm about to go for it.
So 8Bit's likely like pretty far ahead right now. It looks like I'm ahead, but he has a lot more stuff done than I do. Clankers is the big one, and I have 6 notes to get still. We'll see.
Yeah, so that clip for FPLE is a very common style of clip, where you clip off like a little ledge corner thing. You can do it on foot, but that's not really much use because you just fall down when you do that. But when you do it flying, you get out of bounds. And that's been known about since about 2012. But we used to not be able to get into FP with it, because you need Beak Bomb to do the trick, and you learn Beak Bomb in FP. So you actually need that FFM moves glitch that I was talking about earlier to get into FP with it.
So because of my rod, I have to get all these feathers on this ramp right here. Whereas 8Bit's likely just gonna skip all these feathers later on when he gets here.
Hey. So FP is pretty treacherous in terms of health management. We've got this pool of icy water at the very end of the level, which we need to go in with 5 health at, and it's really hard to actually get through there without losing all your health. If we do lose our health, there's a cool backup we can do though.
So FP is a good level because all the notes are like available right away. And they're all pretty fast. And it's really good for extra lives too, because when you get 100 notes in this game, you get an extra life. And in any percent in general, extra lives are really like scarce because you don't get 100 notes in like every level. So that's something that any percent runners need to keep in mind. The life count. Generally, it works out pretty well though.
Yeah, I think I did a run before and I had 1 life doing dogs, so it's better now than it used to be. But there's this trick at the very end of the game called dog, and if you fail it, you don't lose a life, but what happens is if you have 0 lives when you fail it, you do get a game over just because you've gone out of bounds too far. And that only happens if you got 0 lives. So it used to be that optimally in the route, you would have 0 lives when you do dog. So if you fail it, you get a game over and lose the run. But luckily now, I think we have 1 life when we do dog, so that's not an issue anymore. Oh, got sniped by the snowman. So, because I lost a health there, I'm going to get some health on this beehive here. We need 5 health for the icy water, which I'm assuming Azmi's doing about now.
I just got it.
If he's done it right, he should have 2 health at the end of that.
Yep.
Good. Alright, now I'll show you what's not supposed to happen.
Here's a cool little trick here. Okay, that I failed. I failed the death warp.
Oh no. Alright, I got the water
like-
too, so...
Whatever, that's fine. 8-bit will do it. What we do is we beak barge into the fire, so we specifically recoil in front of Mumbo, so he talks to us while we're dying. So then we can skip his text. So in Mad Monster Mansion, when we transform into the pumpkin, Mumbo won't talk to us as much.
Saves quite a bit of time.
Switch controllers. Now I'm about to do MMM.
So this is big clip
And I was
number
actually
2
gonna-
for Azmi.
Yeah. Alright. But before we do that, there's this cool little other trick that we do, which is honestly probably cooler than MMM early. This little void out right here. Let's see when I do it.
So the reason Azmi is voiding out there is to put us back to the door just a little bit quicker. We start from the door because we need to do a very precise movement setup. I'm going to shut up while Azmi does MMM and while I do MMM.
Alright.
There's 2 different setups you can get, so it's possible that me and him do a very different looking MMM early. Alright, I got the bad one.
Alright, nice.
You had the good one or the bad one?
I can't hear 8-bit right now. I took off my headphones for the trick. But good MMM early.
Nice. Did you get the good one or the bad one?
Oh my god, what did I do?
Ooh. Ah, no, I did a no-no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He
Ah,
does
no.
it.
Yeah. I let go because I thought I'd hit pause and it didn't register as a pause, so I let go a little bit
dang.
during as well.
Alright.
This is just
That
one of the
makes
many
things-
things that can go wrong with this.
Mhm. That makes things interesting because now we're probably about tied.
Hmm.
Probably. If it was definitely ahead entering the trick. I got like almost all first tries too. That was really solid.
Did you get the fast MMM early or the slow MMM early?
The slow setup.
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to do too. Maybe I'll be
I
able to show the
tend to-
fast setup.
Oops. I tend to get that pause more, the slow one. Kind of sucks because it's slower.
Hmm.
It's about 10 seconds slower. Did you explain how we have multiple setups?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, it's got the fast setup. So this is hopefully going to
Nice.
work for me.
Please throw. Nah. So here we gotta go from this table all the way to
Oh.
this carpet. Not wake up. Napper. What happened?
I was holding up a little bit during the turn.
That should be fine still.
No, it's fine. I just, yeah, I saved it. But,
Oh, okay. there's not too much going on in MMM because MMM is a super movement-based level. So that's where movement matters a lot more. A lot of the other levels have a good amount of tricks, so there's more to explain. So generally here, you can keep quiet while 8-bit focuses. You got it? Okay, good. Nice. No!
That's what not to do with a big clip.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're probably like a minute ahead now, I'd say, Azmi.
Maybe, we'll see. Probably. Remember, I still have extra notes to get.
I don't know. It's pretty bad at me, though.
Now we're the pumpkin. So in this route, you actually have to be the pumpkin in this run in general, because as the pumpkin, you have access to a pumpkin-only loading zone that takes you to a water switch that allows you to raise the water level in a couple of rooms in the lair, which is needed to progress to the other levels. So the pumpkin is needed in every single route of this game, every single category.
Unless you're playing on Xbox.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminder to not get the gutter jiggy.
Oh yeah, thanks. Actually, no, I didn't die on the TTC one, so I'm fine either way.
Okay, nice.
It wasn't intentional. But nice.
So what we're talking about is, in TTC, you die with the jig in your hand, in 8-bit's route. You're supposed to have the jig in your hand, then land on the crab. So you die with it in your hand so you can skip the jiggy jig. And that's good, it saves time. But in this level, if you get a jiggy jig as a transformation, or like in flight or something that allows you to skip the dance, then if you do that on a jiggy after you die with one in your hand, then you'll either despawn something in the room, or it'll crash the game. Most of the time it'll crash the game. So you want to be really wary to not get jiggies like that one in the well right there. And if you have muscle memory from other routes, then it can suck even more.
Yeah, the reason it despawns an object is because, like, when you start the jiggy dance in TTC, it's like, hey, despawn this jiggy at the end of the dance, and it never finishes that process. And if the game is pointing to a valid object, it'll just despawn that object, but if it's not pointing to a valid object, it'll crash. So in a room like the little pipe with that jiggy in it, when there's like basically no objects in there, there's like almost 100% chance it's going to point to a not a valid object and crash the game. So it's pretty bad.
So I get, yeah, 88 notes is right. So MMM is the same for both of us, except 8-bit's gonna get 2 more notes behind the well.
Oh, these...
He probably should have gotten as backup notes, but oh well.
Oh well.
A more cool window clip for me then, I guess. This is a boring pumpkin section for me. Just walk all the way to the farthest part of the lair. The D transform along the way. Thing over to 640 note door where we do 640 skip, and then right after that, we're gonna do click clock wood early. See how that goes.
Now each of Azmi's big clips are ramping up in difficulty a bit. MMM early we could simply walk up, bubble gloop, but you clip right near the door. But click clockwood early we have to take like a shock spring pad up there. So for a long time we thought it wouldn't be possible, but we figured out that you could get consistent movement off the shock spring pad if you kind of duck as you are jumping up from the shock spring pad. Yeah, so luckily we can do it now. Although click clockwood early is probably the hardest actual big clip to get.
Probably. The hardest part about just big clips in general is the fact that we get into Talon Trot and then we just like move and pause on a specific frame, but it's really hard to pause on a specific frame, So we've come up with multiple setups for tricks, so in case you pause on the wrong frame, and because of that, so many more setups to memorize. There's 3 different setups for Click Clock Wood Early and 2 different setups for MMN Early, all with its unique set of whirly whirlies, angle changes, and stuff like that. Bear punches.
We were chatting before about how me and Azmi both learned the setups when they were brand new and not optimized yet, so the new setups are completely different.
Yeah. I'm getting to get the quick dive.
Damn.
All up to you, 8-Bit. You gotta get it.
Alright.
Off that quick.
I've been in quick dive slump lately, but I got one in my last run.
Same. Okay, nice. So I'm about to do 640 skip. Oh. You wanna explain it, 8-Bit? I gotta like focus.
Yeah, 640 skip is a similar style of clip to what we saw on FP Early. Banjo will get hooked on a ledge, and then when he's hooked on a ledge, he'll develop a lot of downwards falling speed really quickly. If he gets enough, then he can kind of fall through that corner of the ledge there. And it's useful all over the place. You'll see one in Clip Clock Wood as well. It's similar to the FP Early clip, except this time we're not in flying.
I'm about to do Click Clock Wood Early. I'm gonna take off my headphones.
Alright.
You know.
So I'll explain the setup a bit for what Azmi is doing here. He's going to bear punch and beak barge off the platform. Those 2 moves always travel Banjo a consistent distance. We hit the switch to spawn the Click Clock Wood puzzle. We don't actually need to hit that switch, but the benefit of hitting the switch is after the little cutscene plays, Banjo is always in the same position, always facing in the same direction. Now the reason that we can't do Click Clock Wood Early just from like the door that you come into that room is because there's a lot of lag coming out of that door. So the way the camera's pointing when we come off the switch makes it work. Now Azmi's killed that gruntling with the gold feather and he can mess up the trick pretty badly. He's going to try and hit a frame perfect pause on the Talon Trot, and he's got a 3 frame window to hit it. Azmi got set up A, which was the earliest of the 3 possible frames there. So he's going to go ahead and do that trick. Setup A is my favorite, but Azmi really likes setup C. From here, he's just doing a bunch of twirly whirlies. So he's got visual cues on the background. So those trees form visual cues, and we learn all 3 setups. Each time he pauses, it's frame perfect. So if you see him going back and forth, it means that he missed the frame perfect pause. But hitting all of them is very difficult because the game runs at 30 frames a second. In terms of difficulty, these tricks aren't like that difficult. You could learn them pretty quickly if you didn't really know much about the game, but they can be massive run killers because there's so much that can go wrong with them. Every time you do... Oh, did you get it?
Oh, am I dropping frames right when I'm doing Click Clock Wood Early? Come on. Alright, I can hear you guys. I can hear you now.
There's also this part of the trick called bear punch cancels, and it's where you have to press B and A, like one right after the other. So B one frame, A the next frame. And the setups involve doing a specific number of bear punch cancels after each twirly whirly. So you need to be able to know exactly how many bear punch cancels you've done, which is really difficult because it's hard to see whether or not you got it. And also, if you press B and then you wait a single frame and then press A again, you've ruined the trick. So we look very closely at the background and look for any slight movements, because if the background moves a little bit, it means we've got a bear punch cancel. So often Azmi will be waiting for seemingly no reason before doing his little hops, but that's why it's for the camera to calm down. Alright, I'm gonna ditch my headphones for Click Clock Wood Early. I'll come back when I've got
Sounds
it.
good. Alright. 8-Bit's gone. We can talk smack on him.
Whoa, I've still got my headphones on
Shit.
for the moment.
Oh,
Azmi.
shit. He's still here.
I haven't taken them off yet. Calm down. Alright, they're off.
I don't trust him. I don't trust that they're off. Alright. So that was spring 1. Now we're entering summer. Click Lockwood is pretty solid. It's a pretty interesting route. Well, pretty basic. You just climb up the tree in like every season and fall down. Pretty much it. Just a race to collect a lot of notes and hit the switches. You don't visit winter in this category actually, because there's only 16 notes in winter. And the detour to just hit the switch and then go all the way into that level is too long. There's a lot of notes in fall, so we want to go to fall at least. There's 48 notes in fall. 48 in fall, 16 in summer, 16 in spring, and 4 in the lobby. 16 in winter, which adds up to 100. Here I'm just going to climb the tree. This season is probably the easiest out of the 3. I wonder how 8Bit's doing right now. Click Lockwood early's been giving him quite some trouble. Right there, it's cool. I jumped behind the Snurber's eyes. Actually has no hitbox there, so you can just like stand right on it and not get hit. It's a cool little time save just to get a nice extra line. So here I'm doing kind of a weird route, weird detour for some tokens. As we said before, tokens are really, really tight in this route. So we get that one up there, this one, all the way down here. This one in the corner, then we're gonna head to the fall switch. Back 8-bit. I heard a split button. I hope he got it. You get it? Someone in chat tell me. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that, or that's worth noting, gold feathers in this route are really tight. Mine's more than 8-bit's. Because when 8-bit learns gold feathers, Bottles refills his feather count. But I don't get a refill on gold feathers, so I have to like pick up a couple fast ones in the lair. I only have just barely enough to do everything I can.
Alright, I got it.
I have... Oh, nice. What setup did you get?
Setup, it was super sketchy. I thought I wasn't sure whether or not I got one of the bear punches.
There. You just entered fall.
Nice.
Did you fail it once or no?
Nah, I got it.
Okay, sick. Ooh, I'm down a gold feather actually. Let's see, where should I get one? Go to treehouse, I guess.
Yeah,
Here
so
I'm about to do the leaves. Coming up the leaves in fall. You thought summer was harder. Fall is way harder.
you'll be able to see me doing all my decadent gold feather strats all through Click Lockwood.
Ah, okay, I fell. I fell already. It's fine, that was early on. Here's a cool little strat. Wait for that bird to go in, shock pad to the side, skip that leaf, make it up here. I'm gonna get this gold feather because I need it right now. This buzz bomb's in the way. Fine. Alright. Now we're not gonna give Nabnut his nuts. We're just gonna grab his notes and get all his nuts himself. Here's a cool little trick. I'm gonna jump around the birds here. Oops. Not going on the slopes there. All around. There we go. That looks cool. Looks super cool, but it like saves almost no time. It saves like 0.3 seconds compared to average RNG. Because the birds here, these cluckers, they come out at different speeds, and the speeds that they come out is as RNG. So if you get good RNG up there, then you can almost tie with what I just did. Yeah. Almost done with fall here. Just gotta get these snare bear notes right here. You can clip out. So, right here I'm about to do a clip that 8-bit mentioned earlier, how we do a clip in the Clockwood, similar to 640 skip. Doing that right here, we're gonna just go onto this ledge right over here, and we're gonna build speed and clip out. Easy, just like that. That's fall. Now we also gotta head back to spring. We need to be the bee now. Nice, I got that token without taking damage. That's really cool. Here's a cool little strat I found before. You take snare bear damage, then it puts you into the falling animation. And you take fall damage on the snare bear, then you slide off the snare bear, so your shadow goes off of it. And you don't have to watch that entire animation of taking fall damage. It's really good for health management. Another cool trick for the token, I'm going to jump down here, slide off, get out of talent shot, but then I'm not fully out of talent shot by the time I hit the brambles. So the game will just put me back into talent shot when I get the token. Right. So now it's time for the bee. No washi. Maybe April will get a washi.
Maybe. Is it like a 1 in 20 chance to get washing machine, I think?
Yeah, 5%.
Yeah. You and your your percentages.
I only know that because when Ballin ran the bot to test it, he showed it off in percent.
Yeah. I think it's 1 in 40 for T-Rex.
It's 1% for T-Rex.
Alright, this is 1 in 100. Wow.
Yeah. And I got one in my actual like PD, I think.
So what we're talking about there is sometimes Mumbo can try and transform you into a washing machine or a T-Rex as like a joke. But it's not very funny because it loses like 10 seconds when it happens.
Yeah. Right here is a cool part. I do Clanker's Cavern as the bee, guys. Probably the coolest bee level there is. Let's go over this wall so we can skip opening the level into the living zone. Alright, let's go.
So what Azmi's doing is why any percent is really different to 100% because there's all this bee movement. He's going to do 3 levels as the bee. Which, it puts a few people off running it, but I really like doing the bee movement. I think it's good.
As do I.
Yes. But the bee is not easy to control because there's no good way to lose any height if you're flying. And walking is really slow, so you want to be flying as much as possible. Mm-hmm.
Nice, I got all these nuts in flight. Looks like that. A really good section. Gonna take a hit by this Champa here to prep for the Death Warp. And just like normal 100% or any percent or anything like that, Clankers is on a really tight cycle, even as the bee. He's good. Oh my god, there we go. At the start of the level, we have to play like near perfectly for 4 minutes. Not 4 minutes, 3 minutes-ish. To make the best cycle, which is really, really difficult. With the specific notes that I'm getting in this route, I've only ever made this cycle once. And I'm not gonna get it here. I've already made more than enough mistakes, even if it's looked cool. Yeah. So what I did there was I clipped out of bounds, then I was able to go around the surface of the water, so then I can go under it. The game only puts you into the swimming animation, or like it registers you as swimming if you like go from the surface. So if you go around the water plane, then you can just like walk underwater like I am now. Because normally the bee would just automatically fly in the water. Nice. Even though there's pipe notes.
The Clankers with the bee is a lot faster than Clankers as Banjo because like you skip that whole big swimming section at the start where you have to go down with Banjo and turn the key. And you would think it would be slow with the bee because of all the water, but you just fly underneath the water, so it's not really a big issue.
Now we're in snippets. We can't attack as a bee, so these snippets are gonna kill us if not. We just need them to get the nuts so they can get out.
Yeah, it's one
Hopefully
really
my
sketchy
camera-
thing about bee routing is the health management, because there's no way to actually gain any health as a bee.
Yeah.
So it can be very scary.
There's a cool little extra life I routed in for a different category. Oh, I missed it. Okay. I'm just gonna get in the side of this. It's that extra life, but I usually get it. I fly up against that wall. Actually worked out good, considering I made a mistake. We just fall for those notes, get this last note, and head in. I made the second best cycle. That's pretty solid.
Nice. Now here's where our routes are going to really diverge. So when Azmi left Click Lockwood, he went down to the bottom of the lair and he's going to come back up through the lair. I'm starting at the top of the lair and I'm going back down through to the bottom of the lair. So we're actually going to pass each other in Gobi's Valley.
Right there, I got my second Jiggy. I lied. This route isn't one Jiggy, it's two Jiggies.
Wow, Azmi.
Because in that slow fanblade room, it's like really, really hard to just skip that Jiggy. So we just go through it anyways, because it loses no time. Here's another cool clip. We just click at the side of his mouth, the inside, to go around the water plane, get these notes. These. Now, entering the fast fanblade room. Oh, shoot, this is so scary. This is easy. It's even easier as the bee. You only take damage if you like jump or fly. There, that's it. That's Clanker's Cavern as the bee. 98 notes and we're done. Alright, not bad. Now I'm flying towards Furnace Fun as I'm doing levels along the way. 8-Bit's flying down the lair towards where I am, doing levels along the way.
So you got Gobies now, don't you?
Yep, I'm just about to enter.
Yeah, we'll meet in Gobies because I'm like halfway through RBB.
Okay.
I'm doing a brand new route in Rusty Bucket Bay. I just came up with this one like a few days ago. Azmi came up with some improvements. So it's very exciting whenever this bee stuff gets rerouted because like we've got the same notes in these levels for years and years and years now. So it's just simply a matter of optimizing movement rather than doing any different collectibles.
Right here you can grind up against this wall, get all those notes, grind up against that wall, and fly for the rest of those. Really, really fast.
And
You don't
really
walk at all
difficult.
for any of those notes. Yeah. Thankfully I got it. Now we're gonna head into Jinxie. Get all these carpet notes, hopefully right away. Very good. Sometimes those carpets can be a pain.
We used to end the Gobies route in Jinxie, which meant there was some weird stuff you had to do inside Jinxie that made the carpet notes really hard to get. Luckily we found new routes since then, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Then you would have to get these two notes right here before you do the carpets, which throws off the carpet cycles, which means that your setups won't be consistent, just innately. Alright. That was a good section right there. We flew for all those notes in flight. Flew for all those notes in flight. That's really redundant. Stayed in flight for all those notes. You get this one. Ooh. So right there, I went off the edge a bit, and then I landed closer to the note, just to extend the amount of time I've stayed in flight, which is a lot of what the bee movement is about. You just want to stay in flight as much as possible. Which is ironic that I'm saying that now, because I'm doing so much walking. There we go. Oh, take flight. Get those two nuts in flight. Hopefully we'll get this one in flight. Nice. This one in flight, this one in flight, and this one right here in flight. Just like that. That was really clean. That was beautiful. And we want to get as many there as we can in flight. Clean. That's probably the hardest section in maybe all of the B stuff. And that went pretty well, so I'm happy with that. Here's a cool little clip right here. I'm gonna get these notes, then we're gonna clip above the stop and swap door to go out of bounds. Clip out, we can go under bottles, fly up, and then just go into rubies, so we don't have to bomb the target. This is a good 8 notes to get. Clean 85 notes. Alright. And that's Gobi's Valley. That was solid. Happy with that. Showed off all the fast stuff.
Nice. I'm passing you now, by the way.
Oh shoot.
Hey, Azmi.
Hi, morning. How's it going?
Morning.
I see ya.
This is a nice desert.
Now I have RBB left.
Don't forget the window notes in RBB.
True, true. Thank you, thank you.
So you're probably like 2 minutes ahead at the moment, I would think.
We'll see. The window clips are pretty hard. And I'm kind of rusty at them, but we'll see. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright. Oh, I'm a life down. I'm a life down. Oh yeah, I know why. Because I didn't get 100 notes in Mumbo's Mountain.
Oh no.
It's fine. I know where to get back, guys. Get these 2 notes.
That's one really good thing about any percent is routing things on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas 100% you miss a note and all you're screwed because you need all the notes. Yeah. And in 80% it's not that big a deal if you die in a marathon because the levels are all like 3 or 4 minutes. But in 100% they're like 12 minutes, so
That was a really
yeah,
fast
pretty
clip.
sketchy.
Right there, if you get hit by a fan blade, then you just die instantly. It's definitely not as hard as Engine as Banjo, but if you make that one mistake and get hit right there, you'll recoil all the way to your death. Unless you land on one of the pipes at the very bottom, which is pretty unlikely.
That's probably one of the only things that we don't do that optimally just because of the risk. Like, we could drop down a bit and then fly, but it's just not worth it.
Yep. Okay, I gotta get this here now. I'm gonna do this window clip that's not normally in the route, but it's in a couple different categories. Let's see if I can do this well. Right here, against this. Ugh, chill. Oh, and I got it so fast. Wow.
Nice. You have to do 2.
Yeah, I have to do 2.
Yeah.
I'm getting the bunk bedroom and the captain's quarters, which will get me 7 notes, and I only need 6, so it's whatever. That's one of the 2 that I'm gonna do. Here, I actually do a different route than 8-Bit did for this room in particular, because I don't need to take a hit, because I don't need to prepare for a death warp or anything. So instead, I can just hit this note at the bottom and fly out. Get this note along the way. Just like that. And it's really fast.
Wow. For some reason, the door in Gobi's was just not letting me clip through.
Oh god.
It took me like 25 seconds.
That was a cool little strat right there, where you go to the notes level and get all 3 in flight without landing. That was pretty solid. Oh, I gotta go to the other room as well. I forgot about that. Normally I would have gone after those toxic barrel nests, but I almost forgot. I'm also at 0 lives, so I gotta remember to get one in the final room. I'm gonna drop down here, fly, so I can get to a good level. Oh no, I'm too low. Oh, that sucks. Oh my god. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna fly around. Just like this. Same clip here, except just for a different room. Just to get some backup notes. Alright. Don't fall. This trick is really finicky. You have to be like almost exactly perpendicular. If you go too far, if you face too far to the right and you start losing height, it can make you fall off. Come on, clip. There we go. All right, nice.
Alright, so I'm coming into Bubble Gloop as the B at the moment, which is going to be a lot faster than Bubble Gloop as Banjo. But to make up for it, I had to do Clankers as Banjo, which was really slow. If you could do both as the B, it would be really, really quick, but we need to have enough notes for the 260 note door, so it's kind of out of the question.
Yeah. This room is really cool right here, where you get all these nuts in flight. Hopefully I'll do it. I hope I didn't jinx myself. Alright, nice, I got them all. Get all those nuts in flight and just fly out. These stuff can be optimized so much, but it's incredibly difficult. Okay, I gotta remember to get this extra life in this next room right here. Because if you void out with 0 lives, you game over. But if you void out with 1 life, then you'll just go back to the start. Let me get these notes. You fly. Where is it? There it is. Then, there we go. I didn't even get hit. Nice. And fly through the window. Not bad. Alright, I just left RBB.
Nice. So you're probably like a minute and a half ahead, I reckon.
Alright.
So Azmi's got a
Probably a
really
bit
short
more.
flight up to Furnace Fun.
Yeah.
I'll have to go all the way back up through the left. Plus I got a minute left of Bubble Gloop Swamp.
There we go. 811 notes. That makes sense, because I got 1 extra in REB. That's fine. Alright, nice. That was a really good beast section. Now I'm done with the B for the run. Nice, I went under that bird. Alright. Time for Furnace Fun. Furnace Fun is a fun level. So fun.
Not that
I'm just
fun.
going to be answering these questions yet. I'm going to be answering these questions on the way to a trick called Ninpog Skip, which allows us to skip the entire board. So in between each tile, there's a 1 pixel line where you can use moves. So what we do is we get into Talon Trot, and then the game doesn't register you as in Talon Trot until you're fully in Talon Trot. So you can do actions that you can as if you were just in like Banjo mode. So what we do is we slide onto the death square while we're getting in Talon Trot. So then we can answer the death square in Talon Trot. And when we get a death square wrong, it removes all the walls because it wants to flick you off the board. So if we get the death square question wrong in Talon Trot, it'll recoil us in a different way, which will allow us to... I'll see right here. Let me get it. Picture question. So this question wrong. Now, it tries to flick us out, but our recoil is different. Now we can just skip all the way to the end. Really fast. Here's a chance though. 20% chance on a death square you get what is known as a picture question, where just Grunty shows you a question, a picture screen. If that happens, then you are taken out of Talon Trot when after she shows the question. So you die if you answer it wrong then, which is a 20% chance that your run basically dies there. Right, I'm gonna do dog skip.
Azmi, there was a buzzing sound while you were saying that, so they didn't catch it.
Okay, nice.
I can explain it while you're doing dog skip if you want.
I got my headphones.
Yeah, so Azmi was saying that when you do Ninpog skip, there's a 20% chance that you get a picture question, and that messes with how the skip works, and it makes it so that it doesn't work anymore. You have to answer it correctly, because otherwise you die, which means that you lose your chance at doing Ninpog skip. That means you have to go to the next death square, and it costs a whole bunch of time, like 20 or 30 seconds or something like that. So it can just kill a run. Azmi also did dog skip there. Which is like this frame perfect trick you can do to jump around the door. It's really difficult to do, but it's been in the run for a long time, so everyone's pretty good at it by now.
There we go. Alright, we got it. You just peck straight through this door. Get the eggs, even though we don't have enough notes. Hop into the car. We're baited. Wait, not bad. Actually, that was a pretty bad dock skip, but yeah.
But I thought it was not bad.
No, that was pretty bad. I voted out once. Right there, you can poop eggs onto Grunty while she's like hitting you there to skip the entire phase 1. It's the only real skip that we have, other than actually this ginger one.
Right, we used an audio cue for dog skip, so I'm gonna take my headphones out until I've done dog skip.
So it's gone. It's time we wait before we talk smack on 8-bit. I'm stupid. There's... Oh, take off! No! What am I doing? Alright, whatever. I thought there was one more egg phase for some reason. Okay. We gotta just speak bomb Grunty. Oh shoot, she's going that way, eh?
Oh.
Alright, I see how it is, Grunty. Alright, not bad. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the camera in a specific way. After she shoots these 2 fireballs, I'm not supposed to get hit, I can poop eggs just like this, and then in eggs into the statue during this cutscene, so it overlaps 2 cutscenes. I don't know if that's going to work. That worked. Nice. Good statue phase. So you want to walk as little as possible, of course, before you shoot eggs. These eggs travel much faster than you can. Yes, I'm Canadian, deal with it. I'm just about to do Ginginator. Time is coming up in like 15 seconds or so. Or tournament or racers or whatever. American host. And time.
GG.
Yeah, I need to check the stream to see what time it was. I was using live split for myself and it was totally messed up because I paused it in the middle. It was a low 105.
Nice.
105.12. Not bad.
Well, we're both in the Grunty fight at the same time, so that is pretty good for a BK race.
Especially any percent where things can go so terribly. Thankfully for us, things went equally terrible on both sides.
Yes!
There we go. 1 point for not Australia. You were talking about it earlier, how the odds are stacked up against me because before we were doing this, before we set up, I originally planned to be on the left side and 8-bit on the right side. 8-bit was like, oh, I'm probably gonna be ahead, so I should be on the left. But then the tournament the marathon host or whatever were like, nah, 8-bit has to be on the left side because he's Australian. And then we were deciding whose audio to use. And then they also said we should use 8-bit audio. So even 4 stacked up against me. To make matters even worse, I'm using a difficult and slower route. All odds were stacked in favor for the Australians, but we came out on top, guys. We did it.
God damn it. If it wasn't for that pesky MMM early, I would have got you. For reference, Azmi has the world record in this route with like an hour and 20 something seconds.
1 hour 26 minutes.
1 hour 26 minutes. And I got a mid 103 just before this race. But Azmi definitely deserves it. Like, he's been grinding this category like crazy.
So much. Sub 1 hour is on the horizon.
Alright, times for me is coming up. There we go. Sorry, I probably should give him more warning set. 107.34 by my count. GG.
Alright, nice. So that was BK any percent. I hope you guys enjoyed the different routes. You guys got to see the most B movements possible. 4 whole levels of the B. Got to see how many bit clips is that? 5 whole bit clips. Yeah.
And 6 whole
Out of
setups.
all of them, 6 whole setups. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, GG. Hit the race.
Yeah, and thanks ASM for having us. It's been fun.
Yeah. It's fun prepping this route for this past week. Trying to optimize this route that's stupidly hard that I never want to do ever again.
Yeah, no, it's a dumb route.
Right.